Welcome to the Soul Warrior Network. This week's topic is about prosperity. Falling more deeply in love with prosperity. Money is an exchange of energy. Do you believe that you deserve financial prosperity? You can only help others if you are living in prosperity yourself. As a creator, it's natural for you to want to expand and desire more. Use the fire of your longing and discontent to transform your life. Thank you, Jeff.
Do you really think and believe that millions of evolved souls would say yes to come to Earth just to die in a totalitarian New World Order? Absolutely not. We came to flip this world upside down, back to its original state, and more. We came here for the new Earth, for world peace, for the immortal golden age, for a new Eden. We came here for nothing less than to send a wave of light and love across the universe, signaling the birth of a new order of divine justice, peace, compassion, and love. I just love reading that. That's a beautiful, gentle reminder that you chose to come here at this time. You chose to be in a front row seat to the biggest circus in the history of mankind. And you also chose to participate, whether it's audience participation or getting onto the floor and playing in the game, but you came here to participate. So tonight, it may seem like a little bit of a lost leader when we talk about prosperity and money and all that stuff. To me, that's a side issue. That's what shows up when you're being who you came here to be. Money just flows into your life. Money just shows up when it needs to show up. Doesn't mean you don't work for it. You provide some service, you provide something in return for it. Money is an exchange of energy. And so when you're living your purpose, when you're living your mission, or at least growing into it, money shows up. And unfortunately, at this time in this world, we need money. That's just a fact of life. But money is just energy. And it's an energy transmission, and it's an energy exchange. So it's not as much about money as it is prosperity, because there's, living in a beautiful house by the ocean is tremendously nurturing to our souls. We are extremely prosperous in that environment, but we may not have a lot of money, or we may have a lot of money. Money is just, people look at this yardstick, but look at the circumstances of your life. Look at the circumstances of your existence. Do you have people in your life that love you? Do you have people in your life that you cherish? Do you have people in your life that cherish you? Do you have someone that you look forward to talking to or being with or having an experience with? So it comes in many, many forms. Prosperity comes in many, many forms. Do you have your health? Are you able to get up out of a chair by yourself? Are you able to walk down the hall by yourself? Are you able to feed yourself? That mansion on the hill it gets dark and cold if you're sitting in it by yourself. So living in a house, a small house or a medium-sized house or any house at all, having a roof over your head is an amazing thing to have. Beth and I went to DC a couple months ago, and the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., of supposedly the richest country on earth. And we're driving down by the Potomac, come around this corner, and we come right up on one of the biggest tent cities I have ever seen. Inside D.C. proper, inside the nation's capital, tent cities of homeless people. It just blew my mind. Now here we are in the richest capital of the richest city. I would argue it's the richest city on the planet. There are more millionaires in the zip code of Washington, D.C. than anywhere else on earth. Now, that should become as no surprise to any of you, because our corrupt politicians go into office just to make money hand over fist and to siphon our tax dollars off into their pet projects where they get kickbacks. They call them campaign contributions. Us as adults call them bribes. But the zip code that surrounds DC is the richest zip code by far. There's more money there by far than the rest of the country probably all put together. Part of prosperity is also being grateful for what we have, grateful for who we are right now, but really grateful for where we're going and who we're going to be. So I'm going to start with a reading that I think is really apropos for most of us where we're at. And it is, I'm going to use the version that's contained in this magnificent book. It's called Irrational Medicine, The Antidepressant Crisis and How to Avoid Unnecessary Behavioral Drugs by yours truly. It's a poem by Mary Oliver that I put in the front of the book. It was a quick copy to grab. I didn't have to go print it off the internet. Okay, so what I'm really going to read to you is Mary Oliver's work, and it's called The Journey by Mary Oliver. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began, though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do, though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice, which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save. That is a genius piece of work, because it talks about the need for self-care, the need to put yourself first, the need to make you the number one priority in your life. Now, this goes against every dogma, every teaching, every religion on the face of the planet. But you cannot give away what you don't have. If you don't have oranges, you can't share oranges with somebody else. If you don't have health, you can't be of service to other people. If you don't have money, you can't help other people out financially. So you have to take care of you first. You have to be the number one priority in your life, and then give from the excess. Now, we've been taught the opposite, especially the way I was raised. It was taught you just give until you've depleted yourself. And now you're the one in need of help, praying that somebody would come along and help you and give you a helping hand. Well, that's not the way this works. The way it's supposed to work is you give from the excess. You take care of yourself first. You be of service to others by being of service and sound mind first. All right, so let's talk about some of the barriers to success. And this is the human part of us. Human, birth to death, infinite, always existing, always will. And where they meet in the middle is this present moment, this moment called now. This moment that you and I are sharing right now. This is your life right here, this red little dot. It'll never exist again. The day you just had will never be again. It'll never repeat. Tomorrow, if we're all fortunate enough to wake up, we get to create a brand new day, and we get to do what we need to do on that day. So as you move through this, I want you to hold the concept in your mind of letting go of the things that don't serve you, of letting go of what no longer feeds you, of releasing the old. And so there's a clever little way of visualizing this. And so when you get stuck in this, I want you to just think, like, take your hand right here and say, this is now, which represents that line. This is now. That was then. Now I know you can't see that. That was then. You swerve it away. This is now. That was then. This is now. That was then. This is now. That was then. That's a little mudra that you can use. And Fred taught us quite a few mudras. But this is now. That was then. So when old feelings come up, when old beliefs come up, when old structures of seeing the world are in place, go, this is now, that was then. And you'll move a lot of energy that way. And you'll get a lot of blocks and barriers out of your own way. So when you're not feeling quite good, or not feeling like you want to move or like you want to do something, like you want to set a goal, but you don't want to get up and go achieve it, like lose a few pounds. I'm going to lose 50 pounds by walking 10 minutes a day. And then you say, instead you turn on Netflix. You just need to go, that was now, this is now, that was then. Get up off your butt and go walk for 10 minutes. And every day you do that, it'll get easier and easier and easier. Okay. So I just want to give you that little tool. But let's talk about the barriers of success. This is pretty amazing stuff, because this is what gets in our way. Why aren't we successful? Why aren't we more prosperous? Why aren't we more healthy? Why aren't we more active? Why aren't we moving forward in life? Because there are 4 common barriers that can get in our way. The first one is feeling fundamentally flawed. The next one is fear of outshining. The next barrier to success, fear of the burden of success, fear of abandonment and disloyalty. So those are the 4 barriers to success. This is a restricted life. This has got you tied in a box. This has got you bound in ways you can't even imagine. What I want you to get is what prosperity is, some of the blocks that get in the way, so you're free to be who you are. Remember, at your core, you're happy, healthy, joyful, fearless, loving, and alive.